Good.
Good morning, Maurice. Maurice, can you hear me?
Sorry, what was that?
Just seeing if you can hear me.
Yep, hear you loud and clear.
All right, I think I'm getting an echo.
I don't hear it here.
No?
No, you sound fine.
All right, that's better.
Yeah, it looks like I'm on.
Good morning. Please mute your microphones if you're not speaking. We're getting some feedback. Thank you.
All right, I'll be out in a minute. Okay, thanks.
Right.
We're all right.
Did you find your phone?
Mr. Diamond, which docket are you here for? Mute yourself, please. Mr. Diamond,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm here for the 4020 East 116th Street. And our outside counsel is trying to connect right now, I believe. He should be on shortly.
I tried to call your phone and I got that it was busy and it sent me
Okay,
to.
thank you. You can mute yourself.
Thank you.
Later.
I'm going.
Give me a few more minutes and then we can get started. Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, we'll start off by reading the preamble. So the Cleveland Board of Building Standards and Appeals is now in session. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to also point out that if you're on the phone, if you're calling in, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself.
So everybody hears that is on a phone. Okay, all meeting activities being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case by way of our website and email. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter.
I can also confirm that the meeting is being live streamed for Ms. Aston.
Ms. Aston, any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston for the City of Cleveland Law Department. The city would object on behalf of the building department and departments before the board. The city would object, as it always does, for the use of the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Carmela, if we could call the roll, please.
Mr. Maschke,
He's muted.
Here.
Mr. Dink,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher,
Here.
Mr. Bradley.
Here.
We have a
Okay, notice that we do have Councilman Brancatelli on. So we're going to take a look here at, are you here for both cases, Councilman?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll move the first case to docket A 2421, 2479 Dobson Court.
I understand that. I got all that. I really do. I got all that. Me and Joy been going back and forth with that. Because once they do all that, with that, they're gonna know. Once they do all.
Okay, Carmella.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued on March 23rd, 2021. Appeal statement received April 21st, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building, Patricia Ashton Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
Okay, there doesn't appear to be an appellant present. So we'll go ahead and swear in who is here. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, this is Patricia McGinty asking for the City of Cleveland Law Department. To Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public WebEx hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
No.
And did you receive any communication, email, voicemail, et cetera, anything from the appellant, Mr. Hickey, or even his daughter?
No.
Because Mr. Hickey is an attorney that law practices regularly in front of the housing court, and usually it's him. He's with his daughter, who's also an attorney. That's why I question it, because they are always present. That's why I asked. Thank you. It appears you have due process notice to right to appeal, or I'm sorry, right to proceed on this. They did attach, it looks like an application for a permit, so I don't know where that stands. I'll defer to Mr. Vanover on everything. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Vanover, you want to go ahead and update us?
And you're muted, Tom. *6 if you're on the phone.
I apologize for that. Ms. Davis, could you repeat the address? I didn't hear it over the background noise.
479 Dobson Court.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Chairman, this is a notice of violation issued by Inspector Turk. And I think that we would ask that you deny and remand today. It's a single family home with obvious conditions. If you look at the current past photos, this is exterior maintenance. It just looks like it's been neglected.
Yes, it does. Okay, so you're looking for a remand. Let's put on Councilman Brancatelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support the remand back to Building and Housing.
Okay, so we find that the notice was properly issued and the violations do exist. So we ask for a motion to remand the property.
Yes.
Okay, motion by Mr. Denk.
Good.
Second by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, that takes care of that. We'll move on to Councilman's second docket, which would be 82521, 6110 Fullerton Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued March 22nd, 2021. Appeal statement received April 21st, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Ashton, Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
We're not seeing anyone for that one.
Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. If you could swear in Mr. Vanover, I'll again ask Ms. Davis about service.
Didn't catch that. What was it again?
If you could swear in Mr. Vanover, I will ask Ms. Davis again about service.
Sure. Okay, we'll do that. I was just giving them a chance if somebody is on. Okay. Let's solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God.
I do.
I do.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Ms. Davis, was the notice of today's public hearing returned to the board's file for any reason whatsoever? You went in and out, Carmel. I didn't hear. Was that a no? Or just checking.
I believe she's having problems logging in.
Yeah, I see she's going in and out.
Notice was not
Chairman, we,
returned.
Okay, there, and to
Francatelli
Ms.
might have
Davis,
something to say about this also.
and to Ms. Davis, I see they put an email address on there. Did you receive any communication, an email, a call, a voicemail, or anything from this appellant regarding this matter?
No.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, it appears due process notice has been proper. The appellant was notified and is not, notice have not been returned or no communication. You do have the right to proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Vanover?
So, Mr. Chairman, again, this is an interior or an exterior violation notice. It does look like there's been a permit obtained yesterday for the correction of the porch to fix the porch itself, but you know, there's still some debris and stuff around the yard that I think needs to get you know, that needs to get cleaned up and maintained. So in this case, it appears this is an owner-occupied property. We don't object to more time, or at least through today, to allow them to act under the Ohio Residential Code of Ohio.
Okay. So you're saying time to be just for today or a little more time than that?
Yeah, we believe that, I believe that we would ask that you grant them through, you know, today, through the hearing, so that they would not be out of compliance in the interim. Remember, this violation notice is now, we're 2 months past their compliance date.
Okay.
So we would ask that you spend time through today, but then remand it back to the department and allow us to work under the Ohio Residential Code.
Okay, I got you. So we'll be just, okay, so we, a motion to allow it to time to the end of the day and to then remand the property afterwards for any further action from the Building and Housing. Is there a motion?
So move.
Okay, move.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Maskey, moved by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Maskey,
If I can, Mr. Chairman,
Oh, so someone on there?
a councilman, if I can tell it.
Councilman,
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman. Yeah, before we do that, go ahead.
No, that's okay, and I certainly support the motion and our CBO and what he had stated. Just a bit of anxiety on our side. The reason this ended up, inspectors came out because there was work being done with no permit. The good news is that they did, once the inspectors came out, pull the appropriate permit. The bad news is, as Mr. Vanover stated, there's still debris around the property, so we trust that we're going to continue to hold their feet to the fire. And the reason we also noticed there was work with no permit is that they took the liberty to dump some of their material on the vacant lot across the street that the county land bank owns, and that material is still on there. I am going to have the county remove that, but it's just unfortunate they kind of drew attention to themselves that way by dumping across the street on a vacant lot, and the fact that the property still needs additional work in the exterior. So I appreciate the inspector going out, support the motion, and we'll work with the building and housing to make sure that they comply with all the exterior maintenance issues. And just lastly, this owner hasn't paid taxes since they purchased the property in 2018. And so it's now starting to accrue up. We're going to have our outreach team from Southwick Development reach out to them to see if they need any additional help. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Go ahead and continue with the roll, Carmelo.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley, Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Okay, docket A 2821. Well, wait, we better go back to the top.
27.
Okay, we'll go back to the top. Okay, 27, 82721, 4020 East 116th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure issued April 14, 2021. Appeal statement received May 13, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Aston Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, all. This is Kevin Hinkle on behalf of the property owner. I'm their attorney, and on the line also is our principal, Doug Diamond, who is also an attorney and general counsel for the owner.
Okay. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Okay, go ahead, counsel. Let us know what your plans are.
Okay. Thank you much for the hearing, and appreciate the courtesy of explaining our position. So the property is obviously in disrepair. The property has been safely secured and continues to be safely secured. Two things have occurred in the past, as we did have demolition quotes secured prior to the notice, and we also have had discussions with a neighboring property owner as to a potential redevelopment with using some portion of the building. And that's where we were at the time of May 12th when we sent this letter in asking for the appeal. What we're looking for is an extension of time. I'll have Mr. Diamond address what's occurred with updates on demolition quotes that he's secured, as well as a little bit on the further discussion with the potential that there's a development with a neighboring property owner. Doug, could you go ahead on those two items, please?
Good morning. Yeah, we're aware of the condition of the building, and we've actually had some discussions over a period of time with the neighboring owner in an attempt. Can you hear me all right? I hope.
Yes.
Okay. In an attempt to do some type of rehabilitation of the property. Those discussions have been continuing, but and then on the same track, we've also obtained demolition bids. We actually obtained them just prior to the pandemic hitting and was delayed as a result of that. We've recently gotten updated demolition bids, and in discussing with at least one of the contractors, the potential contractors, they indicated that due to the time frame, this building has some asbestos in it, so it'll need to be separately mitigated. And the estimated time to complete the demolition, and this doesn't take into account the fact, whether we're going to take down the whole building or only a portion of it, and that's based on the discussions with the neighboring landowner. But they said that in a typical schedule, that the property probably would not be taken down until sometime in the fall, if we proceed in that manner, if we don't put together a deal with the adjoining owner. So that's the time frame that we're working with right now.
Okay. Is that's the end of the comments?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, if you look at the photographs in the top right of the photograph array, you'll see that's not a reflection in the windows. You're actually looking through the second floor windows out the roof. So there's approximately, we're estimating 40 feet, 30 feet of unsupported windows and brick for this building. The city of Cleveland, we do not want to tear this down. This will be an expensive demolition for us, and the citizens of the city should not have to pay for that. As you can see from these photographs further, I mean, it's failing. And it sounds, unfortunately, like there's a plan there's a couple of maybes in here. I object to a time frame that takes it into the fall. This building didn't get this way over this past winter. It didn't get this way during the pandemic. It's been slowly deteriorating for a long time. We don't want to have to pay to tear it down, of course, and we don't want the citizens to bear that. But that being said, I would object to any more time. I think it's time for the property owners to make a decision and negotiate with the understanding that negotiating with the other property owner, the neighboring property owner, doesn't abate the nuisance. And that just for the record, to make the appellant and the council aware, transferring this property under the City of Cleveland joint and several cost ordinances, we end up tearing this property down. Everybody in the chain of title, since the time it was condemned, is still responsible for the cost of the demolition. So we would object to more time. There's nothing that keeps them from working a deal with the neighboring property owner, with the understanding that this appellant was cited for the condemnation and will remain responsible until it's fixed, and the new owner will be then become jointly responsible for the cost of any demolition. This is dangerous. It's a wood, it looks like it's heavy timber. It's not real close. At minimum, it's a type 3 building that has unsupported walls and windows. So this is, and it's close enough to the right of way, close enough to the street that it's in danger of collapse.
Okay, well, that's a good point. If that's the case, because there isn't a support with the roof of the possibility of a collapse, so to the street, and so that is a concern. I don't know if they've had anyone to look at it from a structural standpoint to assess that. Mr. Maskey, you want to comment in?
I concur with Mr. Vanover. I think this should, if they don't have an immediate plan to move forward, I think we should remand this to the city so the city can monitor their actions.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
I concur with Mr. Maskey. Those look like hazardous conditions existing, and the city should handle it, and I'm sure they will quickly.
Mr. Bradley, any comments?
No comments at the moment.
Okay, all right. So, any other comments from the appellants?
Yes, this is Kevin Hinkle. Thank you for your consideration on these points. My thought would be is if two things. One, if we put ourselves on the clock and said, look, we either got to make a deal or figure something out with this neighbor or not in the next 30 days. And at the same time, we would firm up demolition cost and scheduling. That what type of permitting does it take with the city to get the demolition from a time standpoint, given the pandemic and what the city has gone
We'll ask Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, assuming this is not in a design review district, it's a week to 10 days is typical turnaround for a demolition, full demolition permit, with the expectation that you will remove the foundations as well as and then, backfill with dirt, plant grass, and seed it. That's the definition of demolition. Bulkhead all the sewers, return the property to grass. That's the definition of demolition in the city. That's about a week. The design review district, or you're expecting to save portions of the building, and then it goes through the full design review process, and that could take more time.
Yeah, Mr. Vanover, what about the asbestos in the building?
The asbestos is regulated by the United States EPA. So they will be, they'll have to do a notification to the EPA, and they'll regulate the removal of the asbestos as part of their demolition permit.
Okay. And a big building like this, depending upon, I'm not sure where all the asbestos would be located in there, on any lines. I don't see any lines in there, but obviously there's some asbestos somewhere, and that could be a little bit of a lengthy process.
But, Mr. Chairman, the time to begin abating the asbestos is, that is, asbestos abatement is considered part of the demolition.
Okay.
So, it's a matter of getting the permits and beginning that process.
Okay. So the appellant was asking for 30 days to kind of stay this, to check to see if they have, they can do something else with the property, which we generally don't, we don't use that as a stay. We want to see the property, something happening with it, and whatever you want to do is fine. You continue on that course, and even if it's remanded, it doesn't stop you from doing that, okay? Because I think Mr. Vanover's made it very clear they do not want to have to demo the building. They would rather that you go ahead and do it. So I think that you can work with that and get this thing taken care of, because I think it appears that it is a possibility of a safety hazard to the community also, with not having a roof on and support to those walls up above. So I think I would ask the board to motion to remand the building for further action, and to do that immediately.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Maskey, a second by Mr. Bradley. Call the roll.
Ms. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, so notices will be sent out of the decision of the board. Thank you. Okay, so next docket, A621, 1414 East 110th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is a condemnation of the main structure. Issued December 31st, 2019. Appeal statement received January 21st, 2021. Requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing. Patricia Aston, Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
Will Hayes.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Elizabeth Okapu, attorney representing Mr. Hayes.
Okay. Well, we'll solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hear from the attorney on what the plans are.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, I'm appearing here under a Pro Hoc Vitae registration. So for the record, I do need to read the number. It's PHV-25145-2021.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Hayes purchased this property July 2020. And at the time, he purchased the property in what was believed to be a rehabbed condition with no notice of violation on the property as far as he was aware. He later received a notice of violation that his property was in a condemnation status and then filed this appeal. He worked very hard to communicate with the various inspectors and find out what he needed to do to comply with the violations. And as you can see from the pictures, the property has been extensively rehabbed. And he later found out that the previous owner had pulled the proper permits, the plumbing, electrical, HVAC permits. However, the final inspections had not been concluded. To date, he's contacted the various inspectors to schedule final inspections. He has not heard back from two of them. One permit, I believe the electrical one, was actually closed out. And at this point, Mr. Hayes is just seeking an additional extension to obtain the final inspections, have the permits closed out, and apply for his certificate of occupancy.
Okay, very good. Mr. Vanover?
So, Mr. Chairman, that is accurate. There are several permits on this property, and the photos do show that there's been an extensive amount of work completed. However, I did have a question. This is a 2020 or 2019 notice of violation, well beyond the compliance period. So I'm questioning the appellate's standing to actually file this appeal in the first place, that it's beyond the appeal period.
So in response, the date that I believe it was Mr. Vanover referenced is the date that the previous owner was noticed. Mr. Hayes received the notice of violation dated January 12, 2021, and filed an immediate appeal within the permitted time frame.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, this is a new owner, an appeal by the new owner. Okay, so that being said, Mr. Chairman, the ask is how much time until this is completed?
At this time, Mr. Hayes is seeking, I'm sorry, Mr. Vanover, is that question for us?
Yes.
That,
At this time, Mr. Hayes is seeking 90 days. We're seeking 90 days because his wife is pregnant and due in July. That might affect his ability to coordinate and schedule with the inspectors, but we're hoping to have everything closed out well before then.
So congratulations. Mr. Chairman, last question for the appellate. Will this property be owner occupied or is this an investment? Well, it's a three family, so, but will you be living there as well, Mr. Chairman, to the appellate?
No, I will not.
So, Mr. Chairman, this property was purchased as an investment. And it appears that, for whatever reason, the previous owner pulled some permits, did some work and wasn't able to finish. Again, we don't object to 90 days, but we would ask for no further extensions and no extensions on the permits. As an investment property, it needs to get finished. It needs to get brought out of condemnation and not have to deal with it anymore.
Okay, so we're talking about 90 days, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so like a September, be looking at September 15th, something like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so a motion is in order to give the appellant until September 15th, 2021 in order to complete and close out any of the violations.
So move.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
discussion. I would ask that no further extensions on the violation notice of the permits be added to the resolution.
Okay, so we'll include that in the motion, that no further extensions being to this property will be included in the motion. Go ahead and a motion to approve that.
So move.
Okay, Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gr-
Yes. Okay, you'll be sent notification. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, my business is concluded for today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good luck.
Okay, next case is A 2821 2091 West 100th Street.
application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior exterior maintenance issued on April 14, 2021. Appeal statement received May 7, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
Okay, we're not hearing anyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston on behalf of the city of Cleveland. I will note that there are smoke detectors listed in this violation notice, if I could bring that to your attention. And then to Ms. Davis, did notice of today's public hearing get returned to this board's file for any reason whatsoever?
No.
And I noticed there was an email provided in the appeal paperwork. Did you receive any call, voicemail, or email from this appellant or anyone on behalf of this appellant, Joe Elias?
I have, I'm going to state for the record that the appellant may be having some technical difficulties. I did receive an email last night saying that she was having issues with downloading software.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, the board is aware and on notice that there is some problems. You actually, I think due process requires you not proceed. You may have to continue this on their behalf then, in fairness to the appellant. Thank you.
Okay. So we're not going to hear anything then? Is that what I'm hearing? We're just going to continue it?
I will defer to the board on that decision on what you want to do on that.
Okay.
Or you can hear from Mr. Mateka, your attorney, on that as well.
Let's remand it.
No, we can't really remand it. We have a problem here with them getting information through. So we're going to have to continue this particular one. But Mr. Mateka, do you have a thought on this?
No, I agree with that, Mr. Chairman. I think that would be the prudent thing to do since we're drawing hopefully to the end of technological problems. So that might be a good thing to do.
All right, so we will not hear this docket. We will continue it and they will be notified of a new date. I don't think we have to vote on that. Do we?
No. no,
Okay.
just
good
Continue
enough.
it.
Okay, so we're continuing. Thank you, Joe. So we'll move on to docket A 2921, 2420 West 38th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is fire damage. Issued on March 24th, 2021. Appeal statement received April 21st, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, and Law. If the appellant present, state the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Amelia Earhart, and I'm the property owner. This is my first time in one of these, so please be patient.
Absolutely. Okay, and you're the only one going to be speaking on this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Earhart, and let us know what your plans are. You have fire damage, right?
Yes, we had a small fire at the beginning of March. We have pulled permits to support the electrical and plumbing work we are going to have to do to rebuild. Demo has actually started today. I'm working with a general contractor provided by my insurance company, and we expect to be fully repaired by the end of August.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, to be affirmed, is this an owner-occupied home?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we don't object to more time. I think, actually think that August is a little aggressive. Your contractor is Paul Davis Restoration?
That's correct.
So, Mr. Chairman, we don't object to October 1st.
October 1st. Okay. So the motion is in order for October 1st to complete the violations. Can I have a motion?
2021.
2021, yes. October.
So moved.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Moved by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Okay. Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Notice will be sent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my business is concluded for the day. May I be excused?
Yes, you can be. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you. Next docket, A 3021, 3711 West 39th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance. Issued on March 8th, 2021. Appeal statement received April 6th, 2021, requesting for time to abate the violation. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Building and Housing, Patricia Ashton, Law. If the appellant is present, please state your name for the record.
Okay, doesn't appear to be anybody coming up.
Swear in
So,
Mr. Vanover.
yes, absolutely. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Patricia McGinty Aston on behalf of the City of Cleveland Law Department. To Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis, did the notice of today's public WebEx hearing get returned to this board's file for any reason whatsoever?
No.
And I noticed there is an email that was provided in the paperwork. Did the board receive any contact by this appellant or an agent on the appellant LLC's behalf, voicemail, phone call, fax, or even an email?
No.
So, Mr. Chairman, the board has proper due process notice to the appellant, having not notified the board of any issues or responded in any manner. You do have the right to proceed under due process requirements. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, this appears to be, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Davis, was there not photos provided for this property? There they are. Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, yeah, so this is the roof, considerable damage to the roof. It did just through age and deterioration. However, there is there has been a permit pulled for the, to replace the roof. That was issued, 6/1/21. So we would ask that, at this point, that you provide, more time up to the date of this hearing and, allow the Residential Code of Ohio to take precedent for the replacement of the roof.
Okay, so motion to extend through today and then for the Ohio Code to take over after that point.
So move.
Okay, moved by Mr.
Second.
Bradley, second by
Second.
Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay. All right, I don't know if we have to mention this, the docket A 2021 has been postponed until August 4th, so there'll be no action taken. So we'll move on to approval. If anybody have any comments? No. Okay, so we'll move on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
preliminarily, and I don't recall, Carmel, I apologize if I did or did not, I don't recall if I did or did not notify. You have on the dockets to adopt today A 2121, but I have it having notes to myself that it was postponed to today and we didn't actually hear it. And it's not crossed off. So I don't, if you could, was it continued, withdrawn? I'm not sure if it's still proceeding.
The revised agenda had that crossed off and it was rescheduled for July 7th.
That
So
might,
okay, on the
2021.
screen, it is not crossed off right now. I just want to make sure we're not doing it, because my copy doesn't have it crossed off, just so long as we're not adopting it since we didn't hear it. Thank you.
right, okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to approval of the resolutions. Dockets A 10, 11, 17, 18, 19, 21, and 26, 21.
Not 21,
Huh?
not 8/21/21. That's the one that was just discussed that we're continuing to
Oh,
July.
you're right.
7th.
Yeah, okay, so we will omit that one from that. A 2121 will not be. A 2621, thank you. Motion to approve,
Motion for approval.
okay, by Mr. Dank.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr.
Let somebody. Thank you. Go ahead. Call the roll.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. All right, we have approval of minutes. Are there any changes or corrections?
No.
Motion?
Motion for
So
approval.
moved.
Okay, motion, Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dank,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, if there's no other business, the meeting has come. Hello?
Question of the secretary. Are we to understand that we're going to meet at City Hall on the 7th? Because it opens to the public on the 6th.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll be there on the 7th, everyone.
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher,
Yes.
I really like how you command the attention of the attendees to ask to be excused. Mr. Dank could learn from that.
In all fairness, Mr. Dank, it's the first time we've ever been asked.
What if I don't like it?
Right, make them stay. I gotta be here, they ought to be here. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Robert Howard Bradley, would you please give me a call?
Yeah, I will. Sure.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, guys.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
See you.
Have a great day.